How should someone increase the speed in moving events like carries, so farmer's walk, etc.? The main issue people do when training for events that are timed, so the fastest time wins, is they train them too damn heavy. You have to look as training it for speed. So what I tell people to do, and what I have my clients do, is we establish a baseline and we look back at past performances. So if you're competing at a national level, and let's say there's a farmer's walk event and it's 50 feet, go look at like the results from last nationals, and the winners are probably going to be around 8 seconds. It depends on how heavy it is, of course, but generally they're going to be 8. Anything over 10 is not going to be good. So depending on the level of competitor you are, I try to look at using time domains as a way to train instead of load. So work up, just keep working up until you can no longer complete, work up in weight until you can no longer complete a run in under 10 seconds. Try to do at least, 4 to 5 runs doing that. If you can't, then drop down 10% and make it so you always time your sets. Another thing you can do is, if you have a friend, which a lot of people aren't going to be training together right now, is you can break up everything. So you're like, you have the distance, you go, okay, I'm going to see how far I can take, let's say 250 per hand farmer's walks, 50 feet in 8 seconds, right? So what you do is you have your friend with a clock and you just go. And let's say you have 200 feet of room and he's going to say time when the clock hits 8 seconds, then you drop. And you're like, oh, cool, I got 60 feet. Then you do that again in a couple weeks and you go, and you're like, wow, I got 75 feet. That means you're getting faster. You have to throw in a little bit of overload work here and there just to get used to carrying heavier weight. But overall, moving slow with weights teaches you to be slow, and moving fast with weights teaches you to be fast. The other recommendation I would make on your actual training, not just your your specific implement work, is to do single leg work like barbell walking lunges, step ups, Bulgarian split squats, etc., just to make sure that you're able to drive evenly off of each leg and your strength is pretty much 50-50. You don't have a huge imbalance there. Plus, it's just good for injury prevention. The other thing I would do is just to do some overall sprint training every now and then also do agility work, like agility drills, etc. is a big help. You can get an agility ladder on Amazon.com/shop/startingstrongman for like $20. That comes with a list of like little ladder drills and stuff to do, and it's pretty beneficial, especially if you have limited access to a gym right now during quarantine time, I guess you would call it. It's something you can just set up in your yard, and there's a good opportunity to get better at things you normally wouldn't have time to do. Train events for speed by being fast, by not worrying about how much weight you're using. So like, let's say week 1, work with a weight, fastest you can do in 10 seconds. Week 2, furthest you can go within a set amount of time. And then like week 3, you can do a heavier overload set where it's closer to contest weight or above contest weight, depending on how strong you are, for minimal sets, just to get that heavy set. But I'd say at least 75% of your training for moving events, if not closer to 80 to 90, should be with you moving them fast, not just slugging along. I was super slow with yoke because the weights in contest were always so much higher than I could do that I would just plod along, and I got really good. Really good is probably a stretch, at like doing a super heavy yoke. But then when I dropped down, when they made the 175 class and it had its own weights, then it dropped from having to do like an 800-pound yoke to a 600. Even though I could maybe do an 800-pound yoke better than some of the other competitors, I was so slow with 600 because I had always trained to do the events slow. Makes sense? So do the events fast and you'll get faster. And you have to track how far you can carry weights in certain time domains and how fast you can do certain distances with certain weights, and use those sets as PRs more than like, oh, I can do 280 pounds for 50 feet as your farmer's walk PR. But like, I can do 240 in 8.2 seconds is my best time, and then you try to beat that. And try to do more overall runs in that same thing. Once your performance drops by 10%, you stop. Kind of like sprint training, as far as I understand sprinters train at least.